this next young performer that we have is quite a talented and amazing young man. He goes by Ethan Gressett. I don't know if you know who he is.
Yeah,
but you're going to know him after today. When you think of apologetics, what do you think of?
Apologizing to my husband for eating the last ice cream cake.
Which you,
right?
I mean,
right?
maybe
for
sometimes.
For eating the last chocolate cake?
Probably, yeah. But when I think of apologetics, I think of Ethan Gressett.
Hello, Newman. I am excited to be here. And my name is Ethan Gressett, and I love Christian apologetics. And today I want to present to all of you some good evidences for the resurrection of Jesus Christ. So here we go. These are some good evidences for Jesus Christ's resurrection that I have gathered from biblical scholars, such as William Lane Craig, Lee Strobel, Gary Habermas, Dr. N.T. Wright, and some more. These are all reliable sources. These facts are agreed upon by the majority of major skeptical scholars and confirmed by historians today. Some believe that God has revealed himself to us through historical facts. Christianity can be investigated, and it is testable. It is rooted in historical events and can be investigated historically. Some say that Jesus' death and resurrection is the best fact in the ancient world. And some say that there are good historical facts for Jesus' resurrection. Jesus claimed and gave evidence that he was God, shown through the miracles that he performed. Some people reject the resurrection before even exploring the evidence, but there were ancient historians who even said that there is good evidence for the resurrection of Jesus Christ. So according to the Gospels, on the day after Jesus' crucifixion, Jesus, who was a Nazarene Jew and true Son of God and born of the Virgin Mary, was given an honorable burial by Joseph of Arimathea. Joseph was a Jewish Sanhedrin and a secret follower of Jesus. He had his own personal tomb ready for Jesus. No other burial stories exist, and Jesus' burial is attested in the information that was handed down to Paul in 1 Corinthians 15 and lacks signs of being established as a legend. Some people believe that Jesus' body was stolen, but this idea is morally impossible. Some people believe that Jesus did not die on the cross, but he was taken down and revived, and escaped to his disciples to tell them that he had risen from the dead. But this idea does not work either, because when you think about it, there's really no way that Jesus could have survived all that merciless torture that was inflicted upon him by the Romans. Jesus was executed by crucifixion. There are many extra-biblical and independent sources for this. On the Sunday after the crucifixion, the tomb of Jesus was found empty by a group of his women followers, such as Mary Magdalene and Mary the Virgin. The people spoke about the resurrection because it really happened, and people really did talk with him after he died. Jesus' tomb really was empty, and his disciples really did encounter him, and they were convinced that he wasn't some ghost, lie, hallucination, or hoax. On multiple occasions and under various circumstances, different individuals and groups of people experienced Jesus alive from the dead. They saw him alive. The appearances were a physical thing. Jesus was physical when he rose. Enemies, skeptics, guards, believers, followers, unbelievers, all saw him after his death. And Saul of Tarsus and James, who's the half-brother of Jesus, could not have hallucinated. The hallucination hypothesis does not work for the following reasons. There are neither documented events nor evidences of hallucinations. There was nothing that caused the disciples to hallucinate. Hallucinations are associated with mental issues and cannot explain anything that is already in our heads. The hallucination hypothesis would leave the empty tomb unexplained. Before the resurrection, there was no Christianity. And when Jesus rose from the dead and left the empty tomb behind him, those events led to the rise of early Christianity. There is no physiological data for hallucinations. The disciples believed that they were convinced that Jesus was raised from the dead. There is good evidence for this, and there is no viable evidence to the contrary. 500 people saw Jesus at one place and at one time. And he appeared to all 12 of his disciples at one place and at one time as well. The disciples were willing to die, suffer persecution and martyrdom for their belief that Jesus rose from the dead. And Jesus' followers understood him to be God. Jesus' death and resurrection was a miracle. And if miracles happened every day, then they would be no big deal. His death and resurrection had to be unnatural events. And with this evidence, we can also come to understand that Jesus can be personally known and experienced. And as I said in the beginning, some people reject the resurrection before even looking at the evidence. But I think that if we drop presuppositions and starting points, then we can find good reasons to believe that Jesus Christ really did rise from the dead. Thank you. I hope that you find these evidences convincing.